Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For a radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also, joining us online via our podcast at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, as you all know, we are all, I think, kind of inundated with celebrity culture. And for a lot of people, finding success in Hollywood is the key, what they think, too, is their happiness. But unfortunately, that is not the case for all that go to Hollywood. It can be dark and sinister. And there's a show that's gotten a lot of buzz that is really profiled, not only, of course, what can be the highs, but also the devastating lows of those who have either died or been murdered in Hollywood. The show, of course, is Death by Fame. It's gearing up for Season 2. And here to talk to us about it and what it's been like for her to see the response, we're excited to welcome Sara Azari to our broadcast today. You know Sara as an acclaimed trial attorney. She's also the host of the Presumption Podcast and a featured expert on Death by Fame. We're going to talk to Sara not only about what it's been like for her to see the way that people have responded to it, but also what you all can expect from the second season. Sara, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Cyrus. That was like a perfect recap of what the show is about.
Well, look, I'm definitely a fan, and, you know, it kind of feels funny saying that, Sara. I'm probably sure you hear people say, because, you know, the show is so powerful, but it does show, as I mentioned, that, you know, not all that glitters is not gold when it comes to Hollywood. What has it been like for you, Sara, to see the way that people have responded to Death by Fame?
You know, I was very surprised because, you know, as you know, there's a fascination with crime rates in media, whether it's a news show or a docuseries. But this show is so different, you know, than, I mean, I've done all of these. I mean, a whole gamut of different types of crime shows. And this show is so different because the focus is not on these mainstream media sort of headline stories. It's these sidebar stories, these mysteries around, you know, people in Hollywood or rising stars or icons even. And so there's a wide range of celebrity that we cover, and every episode sheds light on how there's a darkness around fame, whether it's coming from an extrinsic source or from the celebrity himself. You know, sometimes they fall from fame, and there's addictions and afflictions and all kinds of things in between that lead them to their death and their demise. And so, to be honest, you know, when I first got invited onto the show, I didn't know what to expect, and I certainly didn't expect this great success that it's had. So I'm absolutely thrilled that we're in Season 2, and I think it's really owed to Ample Production and the ID's hard work and getting these amazing stories. And now we've got 8 episodes, and each one is more riveting than the other. I have my 2 favorites, obviously. I don't know if they're the same as yours, but, you know, I love the James Brown episode, Murder by Association, and then I love the Jam Master Jay, which was the grand finale of this season.
Sara, to that point, and I think that's the thing that I took away from the first season, which is why I'm excited about this season that's getting ready to start on January the 22nd, and that is it reminds us that these are people. And I think sometimes we lose that, right? You know, we hear these names, we see these people in our favorite shows or listen to their music, but we forget these are people with lives. And also, just like there are people who adore them, there are some who do not. So what has it been like for you to see people kind of coming to that realization that, you know what, just like we would feel if we lost a family member or friend, that these are people whose, you know, family and friends have been devastated by their loss?
You know, I think that's such an important message because as a criminal trial attorney, you know, that's my 9 to 5, right, bread and butter job. I mean, I chose this profession because of the humanity of it, because of the dynamics of those human relationships, the human experiences, whether they're good or bad, you know, and often they're bad, that's why they come to me. But most people don't see that. You know, most people think that it's all glitz and glamour, and they don't realize that, you know, this is a human being. Just like when I go to a courtroom and there's a guy with a black robe, that's a human being too. The jurors who are going to decide my client's fate, they're human beings too. But we sort of always we forget that. You know, we look at a certain person as what they stand for and forget the humanity behind them. And so that's why this show is so important, because these are people with real-life experiences. It is tough in Hollywood. it is a complete challenge to your mental health, and it requires resilience. It requires grit. Especially, I think we've had a lot of episodes about, how women have dealt with this. At some point in Hollywood, you have to look a certain way to get a part, and, you had to go on crash diets. And, and there's the expectation is such that it's really tough. And also, now with social media, there's more accessibility to celebrities. And so there's a lot of freaks, not just fans, but, the wrong people give you the wrong attention, And we had an episode in season 1 where a YouTube star got killed at a concert because this guy just was obsessed with her. No explanation. He just went up and shot her. And so I think it's really important to the larger message of this show is so important, and I love it because I know it from my day-to-day experience, but most people don't.
Right, exactly. And Sarah, I want to mention, you mentioned one of the episodes for season 2, of course, being the death of James Brown. I saw the trailer preview for this season, and having his daughter there and talk about how their lives have changed. Talk to us about what our audience can expect from this season, and especially that one, since you mentioned it, that really stood out to you that we should be looking for.
Yeah, the James Brown episodes, so obviously I'm like most of us, James Brown fan. Even if you're not a James Brown fan or too young to remember who he is, his, music permeates so much that's coming out now, Usher, for example, everyone borrows from James Brown. And so, and his wealth was vast, right? And so there was this conspiracy theory that I'd completely forgotten about around his death, that, wait a minute, he did not die of a natural cause in the hospital on Christmas Day. He was killed, and he was killed probably by his money people, his entertainment lawyer, manager. They all wanted a piece of his estate, right? And so one of the people that was really behind this conspiracy theory was his son-in-law, Darren Lumar. And he, shortly after James Brown dies, he's gunned down in his garage in Atlanta. And there's DNA, et cetera, at the scene, but all of these questions are raised whether this was murder by association, right? So one of the things that Death by Fame does is it extends that spotlight beyond the celebrity to the associates of the celebrity, the family members, the friends, the people that get drawn into that darkness, right? And so the question is, for the viewers who are going to watch this, was the son-in-law's killer, was that, did that have something to do with James Brown, or was it because he was James Brown's son-in-law? And then what gives it a layer of mystery is that the son-in-law wasn't quite the person that he, portrayed himself to be. He had kind of a sketchy past. He had a lot of, money issues and fraud, et cetera. So leaves the viewers with more questions than answers, which is obviously a great thing for true crime fans.
Yeah. Gives us something to look forward to for sure. Again, the second season of Death by Fame premieres on January 22nd. Of course, on ID, that's 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. We've been talking today with Sara Azari. She, of course, is an acclaimed criminal trial attorney. She's the host of her own Presumption Podcast and also, of course, the featured expert and host for Death by Fame. Sarah, really appreciate you stopping by, and definitely looking forward to this season starting.
Thanks for having me, Cyrus. Have a great day.
You as well. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Then let's go make today amazing. Take care.